What if your pain was never a weakness? What if everything you survived, the betrayals, the loneliness, the nights nobody came, what if all of that was quietly building something inside you? Something rare, something most people will never have, no matter how many books they read or degrees they collect. There is a type of intelligence that cannot be taught, cannot be studied, cannot be faked. It only comes one way: through suffering. Psychologists call it traumatic intelligence. And if you are watching this, there is a very good chance you already have it. Stay until sign number 7, because that one will explain something about yourself you have never been able to put into words. Most people think intelligence is about IQ scores, grades, how fast you can solve a problem. They are wrong. There is a deeper intelligence, a darker intelligence, one that does not show up on any test, but shows up in every room you walk into. You know things about people that you should not know. You feel shifts in energy before anyone says a word. You see the ending of stories while everyone else is still on the first page. And for years, you probably thought something was wrong with you. Why can I not just relax? Why do I always feel so much? Why does my mind never stop? Here is the answer you have been waiting for. Nothing is wrong with you. You were just forged differently. Trauma rewires the brain. Science has confirmed this. When a person survives repeated emotional pain, abandonment, betrayal, chaos in the home, the nervous system does something extraordinary. It upgrades. It builds early warning systems most people never develop. It learns to read micro-expressions, to detect deception, to sense when something is about to go wrong, long before it does. This is not a curse. This is your superpower. And today, we are going to show you exactly what it looks like. 10 signs that your pain made you dangerously smart. Sign number 1. You read people instantly, and you are almost always right. You walk into a room, and within seconds, you know who is pretending. You know who is in pain behind the smile. You know who is dangerous before they have done a single dangerous thing. People ask you, how did you know? And you cannot explain it. You just knew. This is not magic. This is neuroscience. When you grow up in an environment where misreading someone had consequences, where getting it wrong meant pain, your brain learned to read human behavior at a level most people never reach. You developed what psychologists call hypervigilant emotional scanning. You process facial micro-expressions in milliseconds. You detect inconsistencies between what someone says and how their body moves. You feel the energy in a room shift, and you know what it means before anyone else does. This skill was built in the hardest possible classroom, and now it gives you an advantage in every room you enter. Every single room. Sign number 2. You think about things most people never think about, while everyone else is talking about surface things. What to watch, what to eat, who said what to who. Your mind is somewhere completely different. You are thinking about why people do what they do, what drives them beneath the surface, why certain patterns repeat, why people who claim to love each other hurt each other the most, why the world is arranged the way it is, and whether it has to be. People call you deep. Sometimes they call you intense. Sometimes they just go quiet when you start talking, because they realize they are not operating at the same depth. This is not arrogance. This is what happens when pain forces you inward, when you cannot escape to distractions, when the noise outside cannot drown out what is happening inside. You develop an inner world, a rich, complex, completely your own inner world. that most people never build at all. Sign number 3. You have an almost painful sense of justice. Something about unfairness makes something ignite in you. Not just inconvenience, not just preference. Something deep and physical, and genuinely outraged. When you see someone being treated as less than they are, when you see power being used to crush those who cannot fight back, when you see loyalty betrayed or innocence punished, something in you cannot simply walk past, cannot simply say, "Not my problem," cannot perform the comfortable indifference most people manage without difficulty. This is because you know what injustice feels like. From the inside, you know what it is to be the one who deserved better and did not get it. And that knowing, that bone-deep personal knowledge of what it costs, made you incapable of treating it as abstract, as someone else's story. It is always, in some way, yours. Sign number 4. You are exhausted by small talk. It is not shyness. It is not social anxiety. Not exactly. It is something more specific. When people around you are talking about things that do not matter, filling silence with noise, for the sake of noise, something in you withdraws, not rudely, just gone, like a part of you stepped behind glass and is watching the conversation from a distance, because you have had real conversations at 3 a.m. when someone was falling apart, conversations where something true was actually said, where the masks dropped, and something real was finally in the room. And after that, it is very hard to care about the weather, very hard to perform enthusiasm about things you genuinely do not care about. People sometimes think you are cold. You are not cold. You are just calibrated for depth, and shallow water feels like a waste of what you can swim through. Sign number 5. You have a strange relationship with silence. Most people fear it. They fill it. They reach for their phone, turn on the television, start talking, just to avoid being alone with their own thoughts. But you are comfortable there, maybe more comfortable than anywhere else. In the silence, something in you finally breathes, because you have been in silence before. Real silence, the kind where nobody came, where you waited and learned to sit with the weight of your own experience, without anyone to carry it with you. And in that silence, you discovered something, that you could, that you were enough company for yourself, that the interior world, the one nobody else ever fully sees, was real and rich and worth being in. This is why you do your best thinking alone. This is why you sometimes need to disappear before you can come back to the people you love. This is why silence is not punishment for you. It is restoration. Sign number 6. You have always felt slightly outside everything, like there is a glass wall between you and the normal world that other people seem to move through so easily. The parties everyone loves, you endure. The small celebrations that seem to mean so much to everyone around you feel hollow somehow. You are there, smiling, present, but some part of you is always observing, never fully inside the experience, always watching, always slightly separate. This is not a flaw. This is the observer's mind, the mind that was forced to develop the ability to step outside experience and watch it, because stepping inside fully was sometimes too dangerous, because full presence sometimes meant full pain. And you learned very early how to keep just enough distance to survive. The cost is that full belonging sometimes feels impossible, but the gift is a perspective that most people never develop. The ability to see clearly what others are too inside, to notice, to see the pattern behind the moment, the architecture, behind the room, the truth behind what people are performing. Sign number 7. The one I promised you. You have always known. When someone was lying. Not suspected. Known. Even when the lie was delivered perfectly. Even when everyone else believed it completely. Even when believing it would have been easier, more comfortable, less painful than seeing through it. You still saw through it. And you probably did not understand why. Why could you not just believe people the way they seem to want to be believed? Why did something always feel off, even when nothing could be named specifically? Here is why. Deception detection is a survival skill. It develops in environments where you were lied to by people you trusted, where the gap between what was said and what was true had consequences for you, where learning to read that gap early was not just useful, it was necessary. Your nervous system became a lie detector, not because you were cynical, because you were trained against your will in the hardest possible school. And now, in every interaction, some part of you is running that scan, comparing what is being said to what is being felt, looking for the gap, finding it, almost every time. Sign number 8. You feel other people's pain, as if it were your own. Someone tells you about a loss they experienced, and you do not just understand it intellectually. You feel it in your chest, in your body, like something in you already knows the shape of that grief, because it has already been that shape before. Psychologists call this somatic empathy, the body holding the emotional resonance of another person's experience. Most people feel empathy as a thought. You feel it as a physical event. This is both a gift and a weight. The gift: you can reach people who thought they were unreachable. You can sit in the dark with someone without needing to rush them toward the light. You can hold their pain without flinching, because you have held your own without anyone to help you. The weight: you sometimes absorb what was never yours to carry. You take on emotional debt from everyone around you and wonder why you are exhausted by interactions that seem to cost everyone else nothing. Learning to hold your empathy without being consumed by it is perhaps the most important work of your life. Sign number 9. You are suspicious of easy. When something comes too smoothly, when a person seems too perfect, when an opportunity has no visible catch, something in you does not relax. Something scans. Something waits. Because you have learned, at some cost, that easy is not always what it appears. That the calm before a storm feels exactly like calm. That the person who seems too good to be true usually is. That trust without evidence is not generosity. It is exposure. People sometimes call you paranoid. They call you guarded. They wonder why you cannot just relax and trust. But you know something they do not. You know that the cost of being wrong about safety, the real cost, the personal cost,